My 2023 16-inch MacBook Pro M2 Pro died, and just in time when I need to use this machine to do benchmark testing. Don't worry, this was for a previous cycle and I was able to find a replacement. But this one, it won't charge via MagSafe or USB-C and it won't turn on. And when I try to put this computer into a DFU, device firmware upgrade mode, and link it up to another Mac, it won't recognize either. So I'm going to share with you some of the method I've used to do the diagnostic on this machine and also the different repair options that are out there, especially if your computer is out of warranty, because I've gone through and do the research on those to get the price point, the pros and cons between each of them. So if you have an Apple computer for that matter that has an issue similar to mine, you will know what to do. I'm ArtIsRight. So when it comes to this machine, I charge all the other computers up. This one won't charge. The light on the MagSafe won't turn on when I plug it in. So the next thing I do would be to get an inline meter. These are like under 10 bucks or maybe like 20 bucks. I got these from Amazon and they work out fairly well to see how much power your logic board is really taking in. So when I plugged this in with both USB-C and MagSafe, it was showing that the computer is pulling a very low voltage and low amps going in. If you Google this, you will find out very quickly that it is a sign of a defective component on the logic board and motherboard. This logic board is Apple parlance for motherboard essentially. The main board of the machine, there's either a defective diode, capacitor, or an IC chip, or a combination of those that's pretty much happening. Now I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that I am not as talented to be doing the micro soldering and try to do the voltage thing and read the circuit board. That's not what I do. But when it comes to whole board replacement, I can definitely do that. Now I want to give you guys a quick PSA. If you have any Apple computer in the modern era, definitely back up frequent and back up often, and also definitely consider using a 3-2-1 backup methodology, especially when it comes to laptop computers and if this is your primary machine. The reason why is because the SSD is soldered to the board and those SSD are tied specifically to the secure enclave on the Apple Silicon chip, meaning that if you try to even just unmount those, the data is pretty much all scrambled. It's not going to work again. And if you take this into repair, most of the time, if you go through in any official channel from Apple, they're going to replace the entire logic board. All right, so I have gone through and trying to do a diagnostic on here by using the power meter. The next thing I do would be to plug this into another computer, and there's a port on here that you can use to do what they call a DFU mode. That is the revive option. And DFU pretty much stands for device firmware upgrade. If anything at all, if the computer has any sign that it's going to work when you plug it in, it should be seen by another Mac. Obviously, it did not. So I am pretty much now stuck in the water. This computer is now out of warranty. I'm going to be out of money anyway. So I've also taken this into an Apple store because I am curious if their diagnostic process is going to be different. Now, obviously they did not use the power meter. What they were trying to do is to revive right away, which is kind of like the last solution that they could do in store before they have to start replacing parts when the computer doesn't turn on. The result of that was nothing happened. It wasn't turning on. So yes, it was a logic board that needs a replacement on this one. So with that, I've come up with the different solutions that are out there, and I'm also going to talk about the solution that I chose and walk you through a little bit of that process too, so that we can learn about all of this together. So when it comes to these repair options, what I have is two different methods. You can take this to a third-party repair facility. These are not related to Apple in any way at all, and you can do what they call micro soldering board repair. So they will run the tester, the volt tester, the continuity on all the different chips on this board, what could be the defect and so forth, and they will replace those individual components by desoldering them and soldering a new one in. Always a great option if your data on the computer is not back up anywhere and you want to have access to it. Now, this is not guaranteed, but it's a much safer option to gain those data back. Now, the other option is to take it in Apple, and there are about 3 different official ways to do that. One of them is to take it to an Apple authorized service provider. They can order the parts directly from Apple. These are going to be Apple genuine parts, but the person doing repair is generally a third-party shop, or your local computer repair shop that's doing these. Secondly, you can take it to an Apple store, visit the Genius Bar, or call Apple Care up and do a mail-in repair. Now, the mail-in repair might be a little bit more difficult because if you're near an Apple store, what they would like you to do is take it into the store, especially if you're out of warranty, so that they can handle that for you. And lastly, there's the option for self-service. This is when you order the parts and you do the repair yourself. And obviously, I picked the last option. So let's take a look at some of the pros and cons and roughly the price tag for these. So when you take this into a third-party repair shop, depending on the company, they were saying it's going to cost $400 to $600 depending on what is really needed. plus tax, and you also have to consider shipping as well. So you need to take this machine, pack it in a fairly protective box. You got to find those, ship it into them, and also ship it back. Now, I think they include the return shipping depending on the store, but shipping in is definitely going to be your responsibility. And the nice part about using the third-party repair facility, because they are doing a repair on the board itself, chances are your data on the SSD could be recoverable, meaning that you could just boot up into your machine without any problems whatsoever, and that would be a really great thing. So that's one of the options, especially if your data is important and you did not back it up. Now, the other option would be to take this into Apple, and like I said, with any of these options, you're looking at authorized service provider and also Apple itself. You're looking at parts plus labor for those, and or even just a self-repair, which is, parts, and I'm doing the repair myself, so my labor is pretty much my time. But with this, they're going to give you a new logic board, and your data is pretty much gone. You're just going to swap the logic board in and out of the machine that is defective. So that's pretty much what's going to happen. So something to be aware of when you choose these different options for your repair. Now, when it comes to a self-service repair, I'm going to share with you a little bit more details about this, but essentially, if you're going to order any parts from the website, for example, screen, trackpad, and so forth, that's perfectly fine, even battery. But when you want to order a logic board, you need to have the serial number of the computer that you are going to order. I think the price may vary a little bit too, but mostly they need the serial number to determine what silicon you have, whether you upgrade or not. CPU, GPU, those would be the one. They're also going to determine the amount of RAM and also the SSD that is on the board that you are going to be replacing. Now with this, before you can add this to the cart, they would tell you to go to the repair manual and read through it, and the repair manual ID is at the bottom. So you need to get that number or get that alphanumeric code, put it in. Once you do it, you can add this to the cart, and then from there, they will tell you if you need any extra parts or not. Because I am doing a logic board replacement, I also need to replace a Touch ID board, and they automatically add that there to the cart. Otherwise, this repair would not be complete. So these are the two parts that I have added to my cart. This is pretty much a total, and there is, if you notice right here, there is a replacement part return credit. So you can get the credits for those parts in that dollar amount when you return them. I have a summary of this in the next slide. It goes through all the different options here, but essentially this lists all the different repair options out there, or majority of them that are there. And we're going to start out with logic board replacement. Any of the Apple ones will do a logic board replacement automatically. They will not do micro soldering repair on the board. Third party one, they won't do that. Most of the time they won't do that, but I would say that in general, they just don't do that at all. They try to repair your board. Logic board repair, Apple does not do that. The third party one will try anyway. And most of the time, these are the things and the components that are very tiny that can easily be repaired. I say easily with a caveat there. It's not easily for me and you, but for them, because they do this day in, day out, they understand that these are parts that they can replace fairly easily. Data on the SSD, if you go with any Apple option, is gone. If you go with a third party, it's still not guaranteed, but there's a higher likelihood that your data is still there because they just replace those components on the board. So the board would be just as if it was functioning yesterday and it just stopped and it just functions again, essentially. Now the cost for what I've paid for with Apple self-service option, if I do the non-return, meaning that I did not return the defective part, this is what I'd be looking at. But because I did return the defective part, I'm looking at about $650 total with tax. So that's something that I am looking at price-wise. Now, if I take this to an Apple store, which I did, like I said, took this computer into an Apple store because I want to know what their diagnostic method is and what their price is. And for this, we're looking at about $848, $850. Apple authorized service provider, I've contacted a local one in my area, give them the serial number to my board, and they were able to give me a price around $800. And so this is parts and labor. I don't know if they need to get a new Touch ID or not. They didn't mention that, but it might go up a little bit. So between Apple and Apple authorized service provider, it is about the same. And third party, like I said, depending on the company you go with, $400, $600 plus tax and shipping. If you find one that's local, you may not have to ship it in. It might be a little bit easier for you, but that's the price range you're looking at. So warranty wise, it pretty much varies. With Apple self-service part is 60 days. If you do it through Apple, it's 90. If you do a new Apple authorized service provider, my guess would be the standard replacement part warranty, which would be 90 days. With third party one, it varies depending on the company. And time frame wise, for instance, with me, with Apple self-service repair, it took about 10 days to get the parts. Now, with this 10 days, there are a few things to note. You have 18 days from the day that you receive to return the defective parts to get the credit. Anything more than that, they won't really do that for you anymore. And there's also a 14-day return policy in case the parts that you got is defective or you decide not to go with the repair anymore. You can go through with that option. And they do include a return label, shipping label for you, so they're not going to charge you for that. With an Apple Store, it was about 7 days. Authorized service provider, 3 to 5 days to get the part. And usually they can install the part within like about an hour or two. So that's what they were telling me. And with third party, it just really varies if you need to ship it in or not, the shipping options you choose, and how long you are from the repair facility, so on and so forth. But these are just some of the things to think about. And like I said, the only reason why you might want to consider using a third-party repair would be that you get to preserve the data on the SSD. For me, I really wanted just to do the repair. I don't really care about the data on this machine because it is a test machine, but that's something that you are going to have to determine. And the other thing too is when a third-party repair like that touches your board, it's considered pretty much void, the warranty from Apple anyway. But if your computer is out of warranty already, it may not really matter much. So let's quickly go through the various Apple self-service repair options. For example, I can start my order for the parts and tools to see what it comes up with. Now with this, I'm just going to simply go in and select my Mac laptop, MacBook Pro. This is 16-inch 2023. Select repair type. Let's put down audio board. So as you can see, audio board, I can choose battery management, flex cable, all these parts I can order on my own without any problems whatsoever. I can order the keys, I can order displays for that matter, which is perfectly fine. But when I try to order, for instance here, let's go down to logic board. Logic board is one of those where you have to input the serial number. This is something that I said before because they have to determine the silicon, the SSD, and the amount of RAM that you have in the system. But for now, what we're going to do is, let's say we go with keys, you add that in there. When you try to add that to the cart, say that, it tells you that you need to go and look at the repair manual ID, to which there is a documentation on Apple website. You have to find the model that you have. Once you do that, you would click on there and let's see here. So for instance, mine was a 2023. I'm going to click on that. Now it loads up this particular page that has all these repair guide, and I'm just going to go to the repair manual, which loads this main page up. At the very bottom, this is the manual ID that you're going to need to put in because they want to make sure that you understand the process of doing so and you're capable of doing the repair. So there's pretty much that part to it. Then afterwards, you can go through and click on the different repair options, to which they have picture guides to walk you through how to go through the repair process. They tell you which screwdrivers to use and so forth. But the one thing though that I definitely want to go over is the order itself. And let's find out the parts quickly. So for instance, you can order tools. So there's tools below here relating to each of the parts that you want to get. When it comes to logic board replacement, they will ship you or they will loan you a $75 kit. Let's go to select display here so we can see that a little bit better. So you can see that there is a rental kit, and it varies for the different type of repair you're going to do. For example, the logic board replacement, the rental kit was $75. I already have a tool, and by the way, I'm using iFixit repair tool to do the repair on my channel. I'm not sponsored by them. This is a plug on them, but I have been using their tool for so long now, and it's something that I use a lot, so that's something that I want to note. But you can get the different bits and so forth, the different covers, different parts, different screwdrivers, and some of these are actually torque drivers too, with different like Newton meters of force that you're supposed to be using on these particular boards. So that's something a little different than iFixit. iFixit doesn't have like the torque one. The Apple one will tell you the specific torque for each different screws you put in. And the reality of it is, if you know what you're doing, these might not be fully necessary, but if you want to restore it to full factory spec, then the torque meters are, the torque screwdrivers are going to be necessary. But the one thing though that I will say is that with Apple One, they just highlight these and they listed all these parts together. It's a lot of reading to go through. And personally, I'm jumping back and forth between the iFixit repair guide and Apple One because, for example, with iFixit, it tells you the different screwdriver you have to use, which Apple does tell you. But what it does too is that it lists not only just the screwdriver you have to use, but also how many screws there are, what different sizes, how long they are. So at least you know a little bit better, and it's a little bit easier to visually see which parts, and they have like different ones that you can go through and click on the picture. Now I'm jumping back and forth between this quite a bit during my repair, and the reason why is because with Apple parts replacement, they also ship their logic board with a bracket so that the board doesn't flex, bend, or break. So with this, you have to take those brackets off and put it on the replacement board before you send it back to them. And this is the guide I've gone through. The other thing too is because I need to replace the Touch ID, I have to remove one of the fans on the system. So I was using Apple Guide to go through that because they have more specific sections to do those. But essentially, that's pretty much the repair process, is getting all the parts out. Oh, and one big thing about Apple, the way how they're doing this is they're telling you to tape all the ribbon cables onto the case with a clapped-on tape. I didn't do any of those because I was going more with the iFixit method. And like I said, I've done logic board replacement before. I haven't actually done this method, but that's the difference between iFixit Guide and Apple One. So once you're done with the repair, what happens? Well, you can simply plug it into power and press the power button to turn on a computer, which I did. And pretty much it boots up directly into a diagnostic mode. I select the language, I sign up, or I sign on to my Wi-Fi, and then what it does, it communicates with the server, downloads the information that is needed for this particular computer to burn in the serial number to the logic board. Because this logic board initially, when it just came through, it's just a blank. It's not specified to any serial numbers, and they keep your serial number on the board the same. So it's always going to be the same on the board, on the system in macOS, and also on the bottom case of this machine. So your serial number does not change. Now, when it restarts the second time, this is where problems start to occur for me, where it was saying that the repair session cannot be found even though it is connected to the internet. So I say cancel out, then do an offline repair. It boots into macOS because they already have macOS on here, but it is the old macOS that came with the machine, and that is Ventura. And that's where the problem starts, because Ventura is too old and Apple won't authenticate with those anymore. So essentially what you have to do is upgrade the machine to the latest macOS version before it will pair all the other parts on the system. The computer will function, but the only thing that wasn't working for me then was the Touch ID part, which just keeps showing failed, not recognized by the system. Even when I did the reboot and gone into diagnostic mode in Ventura, and it says the session could not be found, try to do an offline one, it tells me that the Touch ID is not working. And it's one of those where it's like, well, tell me something that I don't know. So I wasn't sure what's really going on, and say as in so that I didn't read the instructions and take it to heart that I need to update to the latest macOS. So I contacted Apple self-repair support, and there's really two ways of contacting them, either email or chat. I choose the chat option. They were really great. I mean, they got back to me right away, and they sent me this article that your computer might need to be put into DFW mode and download the latest version of macOS on there. So I tried to attempt that for a while, couldn't really put the laptop in DFW mode, not going to really worry about that. Download the latest macOS 26 Tahoe, install it on the system, and once it was booting up, gone in system settings, general, and then about, and then pretty much it says, hey, there's a part that's not paired to the system, let's do a restart. So a restart directly into a diagnostic mode. It found my session this time, it paired the Touch ID to this particular board, and now this computer is functioning. So it is a little bit of process to go through. I wish that the diagnostic software itself, instead of saying the session was not found, just tells you that, hey, you're running on an older version of macOS and we can't help you on this one. Upgrade macOS first. And the other thing too is doing the macOS upgrade in place may take a little bit longer, but it's a little bit easier to do than trying to put the device into the DFU mode and plug it into another Mac, and you also need another computer too. So just something to keep in mind. I have multiple Macs around, that's not a problem, but if you're on a singular machine, just do the machine upgrade once it boots into OS and you're going to be fine with that. But anyway, that is my journey of getting my 16-inch MacBook Pro M2 Pro repaired. Found the self-service option. It was a little bit cheaper. I paid myself in labor and I got a video out of it and a lot of research to share with you. So hopefully you find this helpful. Give this a like, subscribe, hit the bell if you're new. I'm Art, and I thank you for your time.